Hey, vinyl community, James back for another edition of my channel. Today I wanted to focus on non-American jazz, jazz out of the U.S. And I thought of this. I've been thinking about this concept for a while, even before I got on the VC, but especially kind of came to light because, like all of us, I like to have quirky subsections in the way I divide things in my collection, and I have a section of non-American jazz. And I actually originally got this idea from my great friend Sherv, aka Julius Jabbar, and him and I are talking on the phone a lot about music, and we'll have 2-3 hour phone conversations consulting with each other about whether an idea warrants a specific section. It's madness, but it's fun. Sometimes I wonder, do I get more enjoyment out of organizing the collection or listening to the music itself? It's an interesting thing, but it's fun. I enjoy reorganizing, and it shows you what my priorities are in life. So anyway, I want to do a gimme 10 of non-American jazz. It doesn't include ECM, because as we all know, ECM gets its own special place in the record organizing universe. So no ECM here. So I'm going to get right into it. Give me 10 non-American jazz records. So here we go. First one is Lee Gagnon. He's a Canadian musician, originally from Quebec, I believe. This is called Jazz with about 5 Z's. Here's the back. This is on the Return Analog label that's been putting out a lot of great Canadian jazz from the 60s and the 70s. I have just a few of them. But this is a really, really nice record. It's open, spacious. I wouldn't call it like electric or jazz rock or anything. This was recorded in '69. Really open, spacious. The way the piano and the bass and the drums kind of lay down this pattern for a lot of interplay or soloing. For Lee Gagnon, the trumpet player Ron Proby. But for me, what makes this extra special is the presence of the great Canadian guitarist Sonny Greenwich. Anything that Sonny Greenwich is on is always spectacular. He has 3 or 4 solo albums, and he was on a Blue Note with Hank Mobley. Great record. Check this one out. Lee Gagnon from Canada. Next one, we're going to head over to France. Special place for me. My mother, who passed away a few years ago, was French, so France has a special place to me. This is Christian Excude, guitar player. This is from '75, I believe. Let me open this one up and show you the back. There it is. This is '75 on the Musica Records label, and there's the label. I would consider this. It's almost like if Barney Kessel added a little bit more electric to his sound, not really rock, but was a little bit more aggressive. There's some fusion moments to this. Really nice album. It has an alto and a sax player, someone on piano moog and electric piano, and bass and drums. This was recorded December 11th, 12th, and 13th, 1975 in Paris. I remember I actually got this on a trip to Portland many years ago, and I kept this cool record guide. All the stores in Portland have these guide to other stores in Portland. Really cool thing that they hand out. Next, we're gonna head over to Sweden. Bertil Strandsberg Quintet. This is called Cirrus, 1973. This has definitely some modal leanings to it. I don't want to call it a modal record, but it's advanced. It's a quintet. Bertil Strandsberg plays trombone, and here's the back of it. There's 10 tenor, piano. Someone plays bass and guitar on one of the tracks, and obviously drums. 1973. This has, let me open this baby up. There's a cool insert here. One of these paper booklets, or whatever you want to call it. Obviously it's paper. What else is it going to be? But all kinds of notes about Bertil Strandsberg. That's Sweden. Next we're going to head over to this is another Swedish record. This is Edge Thielen, another trombone player. This is live at the German Jazz Festival, 1964, and this is on the B label. I don't think you can see it, but it's the BE exclamation point label. That's been putting out a lot of reissues. Advanced, I would call it. He does some standards on here. It ain't necessarily so. I'm old-fashioned. And it's a quintet. There's tenor, piano, bass, and drums, along with Edge Thielen on trombone. All the notes are in German, so I can't read anything. This came out in 2014, but like live 1964 at the German Jazz Festival. That's a nice one. Next we're gonna stay in Europe, and this is Tone Jansa, a Yugoslavian player, plays alto and flute. This is one of those records that's a compilation of two of his albums. From what I understand, I think his first two records. So he's a Yugoslavian. This is from compilation 76 to 78. He has a really great style. He did some work with Woody Shaw. In fact, I have another one of his albums with Woody Shaw. So he has this advanced a style like a Woody Shaw, but instead on alto. And I guess it's cliche to say that, you know, every player from the 70s was influenced by Coltrane, and you can feel his Coltrane leanings in his style, but he adds his own personality to this music. Great record, really something I just found and just looked interesting, and it's a great record. Yugoslavia. Okay, next we're going to go to Germany. Albert Mangersdorf Quartet. This is live in Tokyo on the Engia label. 1971, recorded at the Jazz Club, February 15th, 1971. This is a quartet. There's the lineup. Hans Sauer on tenor, Gunter Lenz on bass, Ralph Hubner on drums. This is definitely straddles the line between improv and advanced. There's some, I wouldn't say it's completely outside. It's straddling the line between inside and outside, but you know, challenging music. And when I first got this, I was kind of had a hard time getting into it, but the more I've listened to it, this is a great record. And Albert Mangersdorf is you know, it's hard to find his records, for me at least, and when I see him, I get him. Cool record from Germany. Next, we're gonna head down to South Africa, and this is the Soul Jasmine, and this is called Inhul Pico Distress. This is a reissue of what I understand is not just their classic record, but one of the classics of South Africa jazz. This is recorded in '69, and it has that really joyful South African feel to it. You can tell it has influence by American hard bop, but it has that special South African energy and soul to it. And let me show you on the inside. There's one of these sleeves with notes on the front and the back. The piano player, who was Tete Bombisa. I think he's the leader of this band, and he has this really nice subtle touch that he plays with. It's just really kind of the flavorings he adds to the music. It's incredible. The sax player is Duku Makasi. I don't know him, but he has that South African, something about it. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So I'll put that one there. Next, we're going to go to Japan. This is Hiroshi Fukumara on the Three Blind Mice label. This is the only thing I have on the Three Blind Mice label. Obviously, that originals are hard to find. I guess this is an original because I got it a long time ago. This is Advanced Hard Bop, 1973. Interesting lineup. Two trombone players. The other trombone player is Mukai Shigihara, and it's a quintet. Interesting sound with two trombones. You don't see that too often. I think this might be the only record I have with two trombones. So there you go. There's a contribution from Japan. A couple more to go. Back over to the continent in Europe, and we're gonna go to Italy. And let me show you that cover first. But this is Giantanio De Vincenzo. This is from '89, and I don't know this label. It's the Splash label, SPLASHC label, '87. This one, it almost sounds like a later ECM record, maybe something from the late '70s. It has some of that ethereal, floating type of sound to it. And the guitar player on here is a guy named Augusto Manzolini, and he plays electric. And there's certain moments in here where he sounds a lot like Bill Frisell, when Bill Frisell gets more rock in his tone. But then sometimes he lays back and he's just straight jazz, like Wes Montgomery style. So really interesting record. Something, again, I just went for it. All the notes are in the back here. You got Italian version and American version translated, and you can tell that the translation isn't that good because you can see where the sentence structure doesn't make sense in some places, but an interesting one to have. And the last one is Juhani Aaltonen. He's a Finnish. He plays a lot of different wind instruments. He flute, alto, and bass flute. He was associated with, at some point, with Edward Vasella, who had some records on ECM. And I think, I don't know what other bands he was in. But another interesting player on here is the guitarist Pekka Rekhart, who was in the band Wigwam. I know Wigwam had a lot of different lineups, but he was a guitar player with them at some point. I don't know how to really accurately describe this because on some of the songs, here's the back, by the way. On some of these songs, with the lineups that are listed, you have something called the Senegal group who play percussion. So there's this. Apparently, the origins of this is the National Ballet of Senegal came over to Finland, and they decided to put together an album. So it has kind of a jazz, Afro jazz feel to it. A lot of percussion going on. I mean, a record like this could almost be in a world category, even though it's technically or maybe officially a jazz record. So I've listened to this, gotten to know it more over time. It's taken some time to understand all the nuances. This is on the Leo Records label, 1978. And let me show you this label here. Let me pull this one out. It's kind of a cool label. See that one right there? All right, so that's 10. And I did have one bonus. I tried to pick out all albums where all the players were from that country. But one I did want to show, one last one is a bonus is this Rodrigo Amado. He's a Portuguese tenor player. Joe McPhee is on this, and a couple other Americans, Kent Kessler and Chris Corsano. This is on the Trost Records label from 2018. So when I was pulling out all these non-American jazz records, I wanted to show this, but I thought this doesn't really count as much. But nonetheless, I wanted to show it because if you're into avant outside things that are new, I would check this out. This definitely straddles the line between free and improv. It definitely is one of those records where you got to sit and listen to it. And I've tried to, get to know this and understand all the nuances going on too. So there you go, Portugal to end this series. Hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you do a follow-up. All right, thanks for listening.